Hello, church. I'd like to share a little thought that came along today as I was preparing to give forth a word. Did you know that a candle lights others and then it consumes itself? I thought that was an interesting quote that I came across. It made me think about acts of kindness. So I was just curious, what does the Lord require of us as far as acts of kindness, and what is kindness? And then, how is it a witness? So I'm going to go over some of those topics here briefly, and it's just some things to think about. We need to plan our day not only as to things that we need to get done or things that we'd like to get done or that we have been wanting to enjoy, but along with that, have on an attitude of kindness. So, what does the Lord require of us? Well, in Micah 6:8, it says, He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. So we need to be humble with the Lord, and as we're walking in that state of mind, we also need to do justly, and we also need to love kindness. I know that when someone's kind to me, I really do appreciate that. It kind of draws me to them. That just being kind, a kind act or a kind word, it tends to get my attention very quickly, especially if they're a complete stranger. Also, we're encouraged to be hospitable. In Hebrews 13:2, it says, Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers. By this, it says, some have entertained angels without even knowing it. Can you think of a time that possibly you've experienced that in your life? Uh, we just never know. Angels could be dressed in all different disguises, but yet they could still be a test as to how we're living for the Lord and what is our witness as we extend kindness to strangers. Also, when we're being kind, we give of ourselves. We give of our time, our talent, and you know we spend those things, even money. We'll spend it not so much for ourselves, but to benefit others, for others' benefits, and versus ourselves. In Romans 12:2, it says, "Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Live, give preference to one another in honor." So we're to be devoted to one another, and in that devotion, that draws us also. Romans 2:4, it says, "Or do you think highly of the riches of his kindness and tolerance and patience, not knowing that the kindness of God leads you to repentance?" See, also by being kind, we could also allow people to be drawn, to the Lord by the way our demeanor is. I know that the kindness of the Lord is what drew me to Him. His love without having any kind of regard, other than the fact that He just loved me. So finally, Jesus, He's speaking. He says, Luke 6:35. He says, "But love your enemies." Boy, that's a tough one for me. "And do good, and lend, even lend, expecting nothing in return. And your reward will be great in heaven, and you'll be the sons of the Most High, for He Himself is kind to the ungrateful and evil men." Man, when I read that, I just think of the cross where Jesus is saying, "I love you this much. I love you this much." And even when I didn't deserve it, when I was the most ugliest person, attitude, thief, whatever, liar, Jesus still loved me. And in Colossians 3:12, we read, "So as those who have been chosen of God, holy and beloved, put on the heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." Remember that being kind is a witness. When we're kind, people are watching that. People feel that. People see that. And when Jesus healed a man on the Sabbath, he told the man not to say a word. Can you imagine the witness that was when people saw this man who was lame and completely healed? The kindness of the Lord healed this man just as much as the kindness healed me and possibly you. In Acts 28:2, it says, even the natives, it's writing it says, even the natives showed us extraordinary kindness, for because of the rain that had set in and because of the cold, they kindled a fire and received us all. They showed hospitality. They invited them in. And then they made sure that they were comfortable and fed. Kindness does lead us to repentance. It can. It can mend broken relationships. The kindness of God through Jesus Christ gives us the ability to pass his kindness forward. I'd like to read it in Ephesians 4:32. It says, and be ye kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you. Nothing that's better in this world than to know that some relationship that you really care about has been restored in the act of forgiveness and forgiving and accepting forgiveness, receiving forgiveness. But mostly, the healing process is when we forgive. When we make the effort to go and make restitution to restore that broken relationship. God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. Have a good day.